Welcome to the second season of The Break, the home of all sports on OWTV. I'm Josh Penzi. I'm here with my guest today, Tebow. How you doing?
It's good. It's good to be here with you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being our guest today. So obviously, last weekend was the week one of the NFL season. The Jets lost. The Giants won. What's your take on that?
Well, gotta say this is as far as the Jets loss, it's still pretty early in the season, so I think we're gonna be okay for now. We're playing got the Bills this weekend, so I like our chances, and we'll see where things go from there. And for the Giants, this is a very good start. Of course, it's the Cowboys, so that's always pretty important, especially with our new coach, Ben McAdoo. This is very important for him.
I think getting him was actually a really good move for them. It wasn't really much of a change, and they were able to keep the same offense pretty much, and it's not really much of a change for Eli, which I think was probably one of the main concerns when Tom Coughlin, left.
It was a very emotional time for him, and he was very concerned with that, as you could see from Tom Coughlin's farewell address, especially geared towards Eli specifically. Mm-hmm. But no, I believe we got good potential this year because. Tom Coughlin, he was a great man, great coach, one of the greatest of all time. But everyone gets to that point where they gotta go.
Yeah. Well, the Giants are going and they're going to play the Saints. Of course, the Saints have Drew Brees. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You think they have a shot against that. You think their defense, which of course wasn't that great last season. I think it's much better now. But do you think they have had a shot against probably one of the best offenses in the NFL?
Well, with the momentum the Giants have right now, I think the Giants have a pretty good chance. I mean, Eli's doing great as ever, and no one's getting in Odell Beckham's way. So
that's true.
I like our chances.
And Victor Cruz didn't have a bad game
last.
You have Cruz, and even I was saying this, the other day. Even though if Victor Cruz is just half as good as he was a few years ago, the Giants have probably two of the best wide receivers in the game.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah. Agreed. And then you have Eli, who could arguably is one of the best quarterbacks too. So he's getting to that age, but so is Drew Brees.
Mm-hmm. He's still doing good.
And then the Jets, they lost to the Bengals. That was a pretty tough loss for them.
That it was.
I actually didn't watch the game though. So did you?
I only caught a few moments of it. It was a very busy week for me. But I think that like most years, we're going to start out as the underdog. But I think we always have potential, especially with Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think he's very promising young quarterback, and with Brandon Marshall, I think you could put him up there with Odell Beckham. I think he's very good asset, and I like our chances moving forward. I really do.
Yeah, we'll have to see. It's only going to week 2 now, so other thing is Colin Kaepernick, the quarterback for the 49ers. Hasn't been standing for the national anthem. I kind of want to touch on that a little bit. What do you feel about that?
Well, it's it's a very complicated subject, and I understand where he's coming from, and as you can see, there are plenty of other players in the NFL who are in agreement with him and have been following his lead, and then there have been other players who have taken a very strong stance against it. Right now you could probably say he's one of the most hated players in the NFL, and then he's idolized by others. But I think there's a lot of good ways to get your point across, but I don't know if that was one of the best ways you could have done it. Especially for a man of his stature. I
understand what you're saying, but it's almost like saying you don't like our country or you don't, respect anything, you might not like, the president or something like that, but you should still, this is where you live, you should honor that.
Yeah, you don't have to agree with everything that's happening, but I think it's, as being someone in that position, I think it's only fair that you show some respect.
I don't know if you follow hockey at all, but, okay. So, as a lot of the, obviously most of them come from Canada, and what I noticed too is they'll stand on the ice but sometimes they'll put their head down. At least they're standing and, acknowledging,
Even during the Olympics, people not from our country, Usain Bolt, just everyone's showing respect to their own countries and to other countries.
Exactly, and he's not even showing respect to his own country. So, talking about hockey a little bit, actually, the World Cup is coming up soon. You think the U.S. has a chance?
I'm going to have to say yes.
We'll see. Canada, they've always been good. But one thing I actually really, really want to talk about was Tim Tebow signed with the Mets. I know it's a little bit of an old news, but it happened last week. Obviously, this is our first show, so we didn't get to talk about it. What do you feel about that? I know you know a lot about football. How do you think Tim Tebow trying to make to the Major League Baseball?
I don't think it's the most absurd thing that's ever happened in sports history. There have been plenty of athletes who are very good at more than just one sport. And, it's interesting with him because he is, as far as college football was concerned, Tim Tebow was probably one of the best quarterbacks of all time. He won the Heisman Trophy.
But he's like one of the worst NFL quarterbacks.
It just wasn't meant for him. He just wasn't ready for that style of play. But I think that, and actually somebody quoted this, I don't remember exactly who, but they said that Tim Tebow has a great future, but it's not in football. And
maybe it's in baseball.
Maybe it is.
From looking at what he did, he showed he had power, which of course is always a good thing. He's not really that fast anymore. I know he was a little bit of a speedy quarterback in college, but not really that much. Yeah. And then of course he really didn't show that much good, defense, and he really didn't show, great contact. So it seems to me he's more of like maybe a left fielder with a little bit of power. And the other thing too is he's almost 30 years old now, right? It's pretty old for a prospect. Yeah. And I don't think it was a bad move by the Mets, but really, where are they going to go with this? I feel like it's more just like a publicity thing than anything else.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. Yeah. Maybe not the best prospect, but a guy like that, whether or not he does good, he's still going to bring in revenue because everyone knows who Tim Tebow is.
Exactly.
And just it could just be a publicity stunt, but who knows? He's surprised people before, so.
Yeah. Well, anyway, talking about the Mets and baseball, and it's kind of a more touchy subject, I guess, for some people. 15 years ago was probably one of the most devastating things that ever happened to our country, and that was September 11th. And of course, 15 years later, the Mets are playing the Braves on September 21st, which was 10 days after 9/11 when they played the Braves, and Mike Piazza hit one of the most memorable home runs ever in the history of Major League Baseball and the Mets. And, it kind of brought New York to life a little bit after that day. The Mets were down 2-1 going to the eighth. Piazza hits a home run. Mets win the game 3-2. And now, of course, like I said, they're playing the Braves on that same day. Piazza's in the Hall of Fame now. He's, retired. His number retired by the Mets. What's your take on that?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. It's certainly a lot of pressure for the Mets for this game. I'll tell you that much. But I think it's going to be a good game, and I like the Mets' chances for it. And I just think that I hope everyone is reminded of what a beautiful moment that was for not only the Mets but for just baseball in general.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty interesting game, I think, just because of the fact that it's been 15 years and they're playing the same team. Obviously, Piazza's not there anymore, but
hopefully he'll make an appearance.
Maybe he will, but we'll see. All right, well, that's all the time we have today. Thank you for watching The Break. I'm Josh Patensky.
And I'm Reed Sertivell.
We'll see you next week.